nice introduction. And good morning, all of you. So I'm Anand, and I'm an application scientist at Crescent. Crescent is a UK-based growing company that provides computational drug discovery software as well as services. And our products are used by top pharmas. And we have hundreds of customers across Latin America, European Union, Asia Pacific, including India, of course. So our company provides both ligand-based as well as structure-based drug discovery softwares. And today I am going to give you a demo or give you an overview of our structure-based drug design platform, that is Flare. And initially I would be presenting some slides to give you an overview of Flare, and later on I will give you a demo on how you can use Flare to design new molecules using electrostatics. So in this session, we also have the country manager for Crescent, Krish, and our distributors in India, Neotel. So with this, I'll start my presentation. So before that, I would like to confirm if you can hear me well and if you can see my screen.
Yeah, you are audible and your screen is also visible.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for confirming. And before starting, I also want to tell you that if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and you can ask, or you can type your queries in the chat window. And I request organizers to help me with the queries, so that if we have any query, please read it for me so that I can answer those queries.
Yeah, and I will keep those queries last. I will request all the participants to mention in the chat so that last we can.
Okay, and I would like to thank you, I would like to thank Sniper Kolkata for giving us this opportunity to present our software. So with this, I'll start the session. So Flare is a structure-based drug design software from Crescent, and Flare has Crescent's cutting-edge science within it. But the main focus of the Flare is to make it easy to use for the customers. Within last few years, electrostatic complementarity has been added to it, both as scoring functions as well as it is displayed on the surface for easy interpretation. It has protein interaction potentials, and PIP surfaces gives you a nice way to visualize ligand and protein interaction potentials, and that can be exploited to design new molecules. We have free energy perturbation method in Flare that can be used to calculate the relative binding free energy of the ligand. And in the latest version, we have enhancement of the free energy perturbation method. Then we have this 3D RISM, which allows you to understand the location and stability of the water molecules in your protein. And it can help you design ligands, which can either form interactions with the water molecule or replace the water molecules. Then we have this water swap analysis. This is another approach to look at the favorable and unfavorable positions of the water molecule in your protein. And again, it can help you design new ligands. So software is very easy to use, and apart from computing scoring functions and energy within different workflows, it predicts the physicochemical properties of the molecules, and it has a nice way to do multi-parametric scoring, which I will show you in the demo. And apart from those kind of workflows, it is very easy to work with the people or group. For example, you can mark your data, you can tag your ligands, you can filter on substructure or properties. It has a nice docking engine known as the lead finder, and this lead finder has the full capability of not only doing the normal docking, but also you can do the ensemble docking and covalent docking. So there is something called this template docking, where the compounds should be docked are aligned on a reference or a template structure first, usually a co-crystallized ligand conformation, and then these aligned conformations are passed on to the docking engine, and this method usually produces good biactive conformations. Then we have this ensemble docking, where compounds are docked on different conformations of the same protein, which are either available as different crystal structure or obtained from MD simulation of that protein. And if you have covalent inhibitors, you can perform covalent docking in FLAIR as well. You can perform ligand alignment in FLAIR. So you can also perform molecular dynamic simulations on protein or the protein ligand complexes. So there is Python API, which helps users to customize FLAIR individually. So FLAIR is very much focused around molecular design, and it is very easy to explore protein ligand interactions to understand the key interactions, and that can be exploited to design new molecules. You can perform docking to either predict the probable binding mode of a compound, or you can screen a large database of compounds using docking. You can perform both normal as well as substructure based alignment in FLAIR. You can understand the electrostatic nature of the active site of your protein, and electrostatic complementarity can give you an idea how you can change the electrostatics of the ligand to exploit the electrostatics of the protein. So now we will see the electrostatics. So electrostatics illustrates the charge distribution of the molecule in the 3D space, and it can give you, or you can visualize the variable charge regions of the molecule, and the understanding or the knowledge of the electrostatics can help you understand how two molecules interact. For example, in this slide, we are seeing a biotin streptavidin complex. So this is a PDB with resolution less than 1, and this biotin is a strong binder of this streptavidin. And here we are seeing the electrostatic surface of protein, which was calculated based on our patented Z force field. And here this different color. So here this red color represents the positive potentials, and this blue color represents the negative potentials. So on the left hand side, you can see the electrostatics on the protein, while on the right hand side, you can see the electrostatics of the ligand. So if you see this part, so we have red potentials in the active site around this part of the ligand, while we have negative potential on the ligand. And if we see this part, extended part, we have positive potentials on the ligand, while we have negative potentials at the same site in the protein active site. So the electrostatics of the ligand is quite complementary to the electrostatics of the protein, and that may be the reason why it is a strong binder of streptavidin. So you can calculate as well as visualize the electrostatic complementarity in FLAIR. So this is much easier to interpret. So for example, if you see this green color means we have good electrostatic complementarity, while this red means we have some kind of the electrostatic clash at this site. So we can, so this will give you an idea where to modify your ligand, or how you can modify your ligand to match or to get good electrostatic complementarity with the protein at this site. So this can help you design ligands with good binding capability. So why electrostatics, or why electrostatic complementarity? So because electrostatic interactions are key contributors to the ligand free energy, and it can help you understand why ligand binds and how you can change the electrostatics of the ligand to improve its binding. It can help you design ligands with better selectivity and better pharmacokinetic parameters. So that's the end of slides, and soon I will start the demo. And before starting the demo, I would like to give you an overview, because we have several functionalities in FLAIR, and it is not possible to cover all the topics in one session. So we'll see like what we will cover in this demo. So initially, I will give you an overview of FLAIR GUI, and then we'll see how we can load our structures, usually protein ligand complexes, and how we can view the contacts or analyze the protein ligand interactions. And we'll see then how we can design a ligand in the protein active site, how we can perform molecular docking, and at last we'll see how we can compute the electrostatic complementarity between ligand and protein. So with this, I will start the demo. So to launch the FLAIR GUI, you need to double left click on this Flare desktop icon, and you will get interface something like this. So these are the different menus in the Flare GUI, and before explaining the other menus, I would like to highlight this help menu here. And the reason why I want to highlight is that you can find the electronic version of the manual here, where you can find information and references about how to run the things, or you can search for different topics or specific terms, or you can find information to answer your technical questions. In case you don't find the information you are looking for in this electronic manual here, or the tips and tricks provided here, you can always contact our support team and you will get a prompt response from our team. Now we'll see the Flare GUI, and since Flare is a structure-based web design software, so obviously you need to read in the structure. So for reading in the structure, you can go to the file menu and click on the open file option here. So these are the different file formats which are supported by Flare, like MOL, MOL2, PDB, or if you have a Flare project, you can open that as well. In addition to that, you can also download your structure directly from the PDB using this option, download PDB. So if you click, so obviously for downloading the structure, you should know the PDB code. So for example, this is the PDB code, and if you want to download multiple PDBs, you can still separate your PDB codes, something like this. You can also change the path listed here, either to a local PDB mirror, or if you have internal PDBs and if you have saved to some location, so you can change this path to that location, and Flare will automatically fetch the files from that location. So in this demo, I'm going to download one PDB with code 4ZLZ. So this is Bruton tyrosine kinase PDB. So I'm going to download. After putting the PDB code, you can simply press OK. So since these structures are coming from crystallography, and we know that those structures lack protons, and so obviously we need to prepare those structures. So Flare gives you three options for reading in the structure. First is the use input protonation state. So this is useful when you have already prepared your structure using some other software or Flare itself, and you're sure that the protonation state of the structure is correct. So in that case, you can use this option to read in your structure without changing anything. And if you have several ligands to read in, you can use this option, apply rule-based protonation. And so third option, we have this full preparation, and this is usually recommended if you can afford the computational cost of the full preparation. And in this demo, I'm going to use this option, do the full preparation on protein and ligands. After selecting that option, you can simply press open. Then this protein preparation wizard will appear, and this will tell you what Flare will do during the protein preparation. So it will cap your chains. If you have missing residues at the terminal, it will automatically extract your co-crystallized ligand. And by default, it considers 6 angstrom as the active site, but you can make it big or small using these up and down arrows here. So if you check this box, then you will have a copy of the protein with a title _P. So that will help you differentiate with prepared structure from the initial entry. You have other options as well. So you can change the pH for the protein preparation here. And during protein preparation, it will allow some small side chain movements. And during preparation, it will remove the residues with the incomplete backbone. And if your structure has 1 or 2 missing residues, so it will bridge those gaps automatically. So so by default, settings are usually recommended if you are unsure like which settings to use. So after this, I'm in this demo, I'm going to use the default settings. So after this, you can simply press start. So you can see the progress here. If you go to the details here, like what's going on at the moment, and obviously cancel will cancel the job. And if you press hide, it will add a progress bar at the right bottom. So in the meantime, I'll show you 3 main windows here. So we have this protein window here, and then we have this 3D window. and we have ligand window here. So this is the initial entry, like initial PDB. So we can see the amino acid sequence here and the co-crystallized ligand. And then we have other heteroatoms, which are the cofactors. Then we have in water molecules. And now protein preparation has been done, and we have got this prepared structure. You can see that underscore P has been added. So this will help you differentiate it from the original entry. So let me expand it. So we have three main windows here: protein, ligand, and this 3D window. So whatever structure you want to see in the 3D window, you need to left click on that structure, and you need to highlight that structure with the left click, and then it will be visible in the 3D structure. If you unhide, like if you want to hide it, you can simply like click on the other region, then simply. And if you want to visualize the ligand, similarly you can click on the ligand by the left click, and here it will be highlighted and it will be visible in the 3D window. And if you want to see a structure permanently in the 3D window, regardless of whether it is selected or not, you can simply click on this eye icon here. So regardless of whether it is highlighted or not, it will be visible in the 3D window. Similarly, if you want to see this structure permanently, you can check this box, and ligand will be visible permanently in the 3D window. So we can see the amino acid sequence here, and we can find the heteroatoms, but we cannot find the this co-crystallized ligand in the prepared structure, because during the protein preparation, it has been automatically extracted and placed in the ligand window here. And this makes sense because some of the operations are done only on the protein, while some of the operations are done only on the ligand, whereas there are operations which are done on both. So, but they should be in the right positions. So now we'll see the other window. So here we have this alignment window. If you have multiple proteins, you can see the alignment of those proteins here. Now we'll see the ligand window. So you can find a lots of information about ligand in the 3D window or in the ligand window. For example, you can see the 2D structure, and this is the ligand name. So it was extracted from A chain. So we have A, and then this is the residue number or the residue name, and we have the residue number. And this is the protein or the structure from which it was extracted. So we have this associated protein here, and then we can find some physiochemical properties of the ligand. And whatever extra operations you will do on the ligand, so those columns will be added in this window. And these columns are very flexible. You can either reorder by simply dragging it, or you can sort using this up and down arrow here. So this is very interesting, this radial plot. This will help you in multi-parametric scoring. So I'll show you how. So if you go on the right hand side, here you can find this radial plot window. So here you can see like different properties, but in the radial plot, if you see at the edges, we have different properties of the features. And the molecules with the ideal properties or the properties with the within the specified range will have highlighted region towards the center, while the molecules which deviate from the specified range, they will have highlighted region towards the edge. So here, if you see, these are different properties which have been displayed in the radial plot, and this is the consensus score of all these features. So if you don't want any, like if you want to remove any feature, you can simply close it. So now we can see we have 5 features, and consensus score has been automatically updated. And if you want to add some new feature, you can simply go to new here, and you can add, for example, rotatable bond. So this will update the radial plot as well as the score. So like this, this will help you in multi-parametric scoring. Instead of looking at one property at once, you can have look at different properties at once. So here we are having all the information about the ligand in different columns. but you can, so we have the styles view for the ligand. So you can get all the information related to that ligand in form of a tile. So here we are only seeing 2D structure and radio plot, but you can add, like you can show different information in the tile. You can simply right click and choose tile data. So these are the hidden properties. If you want to add, you can simply drag it here, and those will be visible in this. If you press OK, those will be added to this tile. So we have different views for this ligand. Here also, if you want to hide something, you can hide or show a particular column. So now we'll see the different menus in the Flash GUI. So firstly, we'll see this home. In home menu, we have options mostly related to the visualization or structure manipulation. So for example, if you want to center the structure, so you can center it. So if you select, you can scroll up and down to zoom, or if you want to, so if you select the ligand and if you want to fit to the window, you can simply use this button here. And now we are seeing protein and ligand complex. So here, if you want to change the representation of the protein, you can change into different ribbon, like flat ribbon or cartoon, or if you want to hide it, you can simply, so this is highlighted here, that means it will be visible. So if you again click here, so it will be hidden. So you can change the representation of the 3D window. If you want to change into thin stick, so I can simply click thin stick. So since we did not select anything here, so the representation of whole 3D window has been changed. And if you want to change the representation of the selected part, for example, if I select this ligand with the double left click, and if I change the representation, it will change the representation only of the selected part. You can also change the color. So if you don't select anything, it will change the color of the whole 3D window. And if you select ligand, and if you select different color, it will change the color of only that ligand. So like this, you can change the representation as well as visualization. Then here, by default, we are seeing the 6 angstrom active site because we specified 6 angstrom initially, but here also you can change it. Like you can make it big or small. So here you have different options to pick up. For example, if you want to pick active site, you can click the active site, it will automatically pick the active site. So you can invert it if you want. So you have different options to pick. And here, if you want to see atoms or the residues within 4.5 angstrom, so you can simply press, so after typing 4.5 angstrom, you can simply press grow. So now we can see that all the atoms within 4.5 angstroms have been selected. But if you see here, like for some of the water molecules or the residues, they have been selected partially. For example, this residue. So if you want to select complete residue, so you can simply click pick parents here. So all those residues within 4.5 angstrom of the ligand will be selected. There are other options to select. So if you go here at the downward arrow here, so if you want to select specific residues, for example, so you need to change into the atom selection mode. And if you go to residue here, so if you want to select all the cysteines in your structure, so now all the cysteines have been selected. And if you want to display those, so you can simply press this atom to show. Now we can see all those cysteines. And if you want to hide, you can again click on this. So those residues will be hidden. So again, I will change into the atom selection mode. And you can save all your selections. So you don't have to manually select all the time. during your experiment. So if you do some selection, you can save those selections here. You can also visualize the protein ligand interactions using this button here, context. So if you press here, now you can see the interactions between ligand and protein. So for example, this green color, green dotted line represents the hydrogen bond, and this is the hydrogen bond distance. This is light blue color is the weak hydrogen bond, which are having slightly longer distance or slightly deviating from the ideal hydrogen bond angle. Then we have this purple color, so that represents pi-cation interactions. So you can control which interactions you want to visualize. So for that, you can go to this small arrow here, and you will get this panel here. So here you can control which interactions you want to visualize in the 3D window. You have different interactions in the panel. So for example, if you want to hide this pi-cation interaction, so you can simply uncheck this box and now it will be hidden. Or similarly, if you want to again visualize, you can check. So similarly for all other interactions, you can use this panel to hide or show the interaction in the 3D window. And then we have this panel, which is very interesting. Now we are seeing only the ligand protein interactions. So if and ligand water interactions. So if you are interested in seeing the protein interactions as well, so you can simply click in this box, and now you can see the protein interactions as well. If you want to highlight some interaction, you need to again click one more time. So all those interactions will be highlighted. And if you click one more time, those interactions will be hidden. So similarly, you can see the protein water interactions. So like this, you can show or hide different interactions. And similarly, you can show or hide the steric clashes in the 3D window using this panel here. If you want to hide these contacts, again, you need to click on this button and this will hide the contacts. Now we'll see what we have in the ligand menu. So let me hide the protein first. So this is our ligand. So you have options to edit the ligand here. Then you can add different surfaces to the ligand. For example, if you want to add electropositive potential or electronegative potential. So similarly, you can add van der Waals or hydrophobic surfaces, and you can change the contour, size of the contour, or you can change the transparency using these up and down arrows here. If you want to remove, you can simply clear the surfaces. You can add different atomic surfaces to the ligand or electrostatic surfaces to the ligand. So here you will find menus for doing the docking, different types of docking and alignments, and some advanced operations like water swap, FEP. So if you want to hide this surface, again you need to click on this. Now we will see what we have in the protein window. So you can duplicate the structure, you can edit your protein, you can mutate if you select particular residue, and if you want to mutate, you can mutate to any of these residues. And this is same as what we did like initially, like protein preparation. If you are not satisfied, you can again prepare a structure. Here also, you can minimize your structure. You can perform molecular dynamics using these buttons here. And usually we have several problems with the PDBs. So you can check whether your structure is having any problem like Ramachandran violation or any other clashes or something which you need to prepare for your experiment. So you can check your structure using these options here. You can add different type of surfaces, same like ligand. You can add different surfaces to the protein as well. And if you want to align different protein, or if you want to superimpose, you can superimpose protein structures using these buttons here. And this option, if I select any, if we have, okay, so this histidine, for example, center it and show it. So during the protein preparation, if you are not satisfied with the side chain orientation of the residues, so you can flip the side chain using these buttons here. And if you think the other proton is protonated, sorry, other nitrogen is protonated, so you can change into different tautomers using these buttons here. You can change the charge state of the residue. So these are the different options which you can try for your structure. Now in the view, so let me switch on both ligand and protein. So in the view, we have this grid view. So if you have multiple ligands or the multiple structure in the 3D window, and you want to see those structures in different grids, so you can simply press this grid view. So you will have all those structures into like different grids. So this is, you can use Control G as shortcut on your keyboard for the same. And you can change the background color. You can make it full screen. There are some stereo options here. And so this is very interesting what we are having here, capture scene. So for example, if I like this particular pose or scene, so I can capture this scene. And again, if I change to some other pose, or if I capture this, and if I change the view, and if I want to regenerate my images or recreate that previous scene, so I can simply go to this storyboard and click on that scene. So it will automatically generate that scene. You don't have to do it manually. So this will help you in regenerating your images. And if you don't want, you can simply close this. You can click the plane using these buttons here. And what you're seeing here are essentially different windows. So you can control which windows you want to see. So if you are doing dynamics, you can check this box and one window will be added for dynamics here. So similarly, if you don't want any window, you can uncheck or close this. So these windows are well flexible. You can move it. So simply left click and you can drag it anywhere, wherever you want. If you don't want this alignment, you can close it. So these are very flexible. So you can change the layout as per your requirement. And if you think that the original layout was better and you again want to get that original layout, so you can go to the view and this reset, you can press on this reset layout. And if you press yes, you will get the original layout. So this is what we have in the Flare GUI and how we can visualize the interactions. So as suggested by organizers, we will be taking questions at the last. So I'll move forward to the next section, that how we can edit ligand or how we can design the ligand in the protein active site. So let me switch on the context and change the display for better visualization. I don't want this alignment window, this protein check. Okay. Let me expand it a little bit.
Hello, sir. Can you make the background black?
Black?
Yeah.
Okay, sure, I'll try. If you go to preferences, appearance, so here, so you are not able to see on white. Hello.
Yeah, if it will be black, the interactions will be more clear.
No, I like it may have like problems with other visualizations, so that's why I'm not changing.
Okay,
But I
fine.
show you option how you can change it. So here you
Okay.
can. So if you go to appearance, so this is color, and if you want to change it, you can change using these options here. You can also change of the interactions using these buttons here.
Thank you.
So here what I was showing you that what I want to show you that here this water molecule is bridging the hydrogen bond interaction between this methyl pyridine nitrogen and these two residues. So let me select these two residues. So for better visualization, and if I change the representation, you can label these residues or any of the residues using this button here, label, and if I press residue, so it will press also, it will show the label for the selected residues. Okay. So by default, the label will be placed on the alpha carbon of the residue, but this is not ideal sometimes while creating your images. So for that, what you can do is that you can simply select one atom and right click, appearance, and then you can annotate. So if you annotate, so this is phenyl 413. So if you annotate, that label will be placed near that selected atom. So like that, you can also label. So these two residues are involved in hydrogen bond interactions, and this water molecule is bridging the hydrogen bond interaction between pyridine and nitrogen and these two residues. So if you want to undo something, so here we annotated this item, so I can simply click on this undo button at the top left here, and these are undo and redo buttons. So you can do undo and redo operations using those buttons. So now we'll see, like I will modify this particular methylpyridine moiety into methyl indazole ring, and we'll see whether it can replace this water molecule or not. So for that, I will hide the context. I will hide the protein as well. Now we only have the ligand, and if you want to edit this ligand, you can go to the ligand, and either you can edit this ligand or you can edit a copy of this ligand. I will edit a copy of the ligand. So if you press edit a copy, you can see now we have one more menu here, editing. So this will be added when you are in the editing mode. And now I will change this pyridine ring into indazole. So for that, you can select different atom types from this palettes here, or different ring structures. You can also choose from this periodic table here. So I'll change this into carbon first. So for that, I have selected carbon atom type. 1 second, let me center it. Okay. Okay, so now how you can sketch it, you can simply left click and you can drag it. So intentionally I am making it back because I want to show you some options in the flare. So if you want to change the bond order, you can simply hover over a bond, and if you click one time, it will change into double bond. If you click one more time, it will change into triple bond. So here I want nitrogen for indazole, and here also. So after editing the ligand, you can select the edited part. So for that, you can go to this lasso and you can left click and you can, 1 second, and if I remove and okay. So you can left click and simply drag to select only the editing part. So now we can see we have selected the edited part, and after that, this I can minimize the selected part because we have edited it manually. So I can simply, so before that, let me switch on the protein as well, and if I minimize it, so you will get a structure. So if you see this particular part, we are not getting the correct geometry for this. Ideally, it should be planar. And why we are not getting the correct geometry for this part? Because if you see the protein active site, we have water molecule here, and due to the steric clash with this water molecule, we have got this distorted geometry for this particular part. And if I undo it, and this time if I select this cleanup, and now if you see, we have got the correct geometry. That means we have got the planar structure. So this is geometry of this particular part is correct. So we have two options here, minimize and clean up. So what minimize does? Minimize the ligand in context of the protein. That means it will consider the protein, while what cleanup does is that it will not consider your protein during minimization. So these are the two different options in the pair. So you can use accordingly. So after editing your ligand, you can simply press done here. So now this is our edited ligand. So you can change the name of this ligand by double left click. So for example, my design. So again, if I switch on the context, and if I focus on this part, now we can see that we are getting the hydrogen bond with this residue, as well as we are having the hydrogen bond with this residue as well. So this methyl indazole can displace this water molecule. So like this, you can design your ligands. So this is how we edit a ligand in the protein active site. And if you have several ligands here in the ligand window, what you can do is you can create roles, different roles, right click and then create roles. So for example, design molecules, or if you want to dock only the selected ligands, so you can create one role here. Or if you want to remove, you can simply remove this. So if you press OK, this role will be added here, and now we have designed this ligand. I can simply click on this ligand and drag it to move in the design. So this will help you in classifying your ligand. Like if you have designed some ligands and if you want to drop some ligands, you can create one role and move all your ligands to that particular role. So this will help you in selection. So now I will show you how you can perform docking in Flare. So usually in the demo, we perform docking on the dry structure. That means we don't consider the active site protein, but you can do it for your experiment if you think that active site protein or water molecules are important. So it's up to you. But in this demo, I will remove the water and I will perform docking on the dry structure. So for that, I can duplicate this structure. So I can right click and duplicate, and I can rename it, right click, rename. So for deleting all the water molecules, I can simply select this chain, water, and press delete button on my keyboard. So this will delete all the water molecules. And for docking, I'll read in the ligands for docking. So these ligands have already been sketched and aligned well using our ligand-based platform, Forge. So protonation state of those ligands are correct. So I'll use this input protonation state. So these are the different ligands which are the variants of the same crystal structure. We have some small modifications on this structure. So let me change into grid view, Control G. So you can see now this is the crystal structure, and this is our design compound. We have methyl indazole instead of methyl pyridine here. So similarly, we have indole ring here. So some small modifications. We have chloro group here, and while we have methyl group here. So these are some small modifications. So these molecules have been synthesized and tested. So we have activity values for these ligand as well. So now we'll see how we can perform docking. So let me switch on the protein. And so for docking, since docking is a ligand operation, you can go to the ligand menu and you can click on this dock ligands here. So you have different methods for docking. For example, you have quick mode. So this is less precise, but more fast. This is useful for virtual screening experiments. Then you have this standard normal docking algorithm. And if you want more accurate results, so that will be a little bit slower. So in that case, you can use this option, accurate but slow. And this very accurate is more precise but more slower. And if you don't want to do docking, you just want to calculate a score for a particular pose, you can select this option in that case. So now we have selected 6 ligands. So that's why it is showing like 6 ligands for the docking. So if you select only 2 or 3, you can see these ligands have been selected. If you want to select all in a row, you can left click and right click here and select all in a row. So all the ligands in a row will be selected here. So we have 6 ligands. All those ligands have been selected for the docking. And like I explained in my presentation, you have template option. So if you select this and if you select this co-crystallized ligand, before docking, all your ligands will be aligned on the co-crystallized conformation, and then those aligned conformation will be passed on to the docking engine. But I'm not going to use this option in the demo. And so this is important, grid definition. So how to define grid? So you have 3 options here. Either you can use the co-crystallized ligand for defining the grid. So if you want to use this option, you can simply click on the ligand and you can choose the co-crystallized ligand. In this case, it is this ligand. So if you select this ligand, docking grid will be defined based on the co-crystallized ligand. You can also manually define the grid by atom pick. So if you want to do that, you can simply press this button here and you can left click in the 3D window and then press control, and again you can left click to expand it. So like this, you can manually define your grid as well. And since this grid generation takes some time, so what Flare does is it saves all those grid files and you can use your existing grid. If you have any grid in your project, you can use that grid for further dockings. You don't have to generate it again and again. So I don't have any grid in this Flare project, so that's why this option is disabled now. So in this demo, I will use the co-crystallized ligand for docking. I will define the grid based on the co-crystallized ligand. Here you can choose which protein you want to use for the docking, which chains you want to include during the docking. You can find more details here. If you go like in the normal mode, the docking runs are carried out only once. But if you go into the accurate but slow, the docking runs are carried out thrice. You can also adjust the maximum number of the poses here. So in this mode, I will use the default settings and normal mode. So after selecting all these parameters, I can simply press. So here you can find the information, how many atoms are there in the grid and which protein have been selected for the docking. So after this, you can simply press the start and this will start building your grid. So you can see the details here. If you go, what's going on at the moment. So this will take some time. So I'm not going to wait for it. I will cancel it. And I already have the docking results. So I will open the result file. So this is the co-crystallized ligand, what we are seeing here. And these are the dock poses. So how you can differentiate these dock poses from the original ligands is that prepared protein, we have _P. So in the dock poses, we have _D in the title. So this will help you differentiate the conformation from the original conformation or the original ligand. So we are seeing only the dock poses now. And if I select, this will be visible in the 3D window. And we can see we have got quite good alignment with the co-crystallized ligand. And why we are seeing only the dock poses? Because I have applied filter. So if you go to the filter window, so here I have applied filter that title containing _D should be visible. So if you disable it using, so if this is red now, this means this is disabled, and you can find all the ligands, both original ligand as well as the dock poses. So we have got quite good correlation with the, or quite good confirmation, which is aligned well with the co-crystallized ligand. So let me hide the original ligand first. So, okay. Before that, I'll show you one. So if I select only one ligand, so here if you see this small arrow here, so if you expand it by clicking here, you can find the different conformations or different poses saved for this ligand. So by default, first is the preferred pose, what we are seeing here. But if you think that other poses are better, you can select and make it preferred pose using this button here. But we can see that other poses are not that much good, like first pose. So I won't change it. But if you think this is not the case for all the ligands, sometimes you may have the second pose as the better pose than the first pose. So in that case, you can press this button to make it preferable pose. So I won't change it because this is a good pose for me for this ligand. Okay. So what Lead Finder does is that it will give you 3 docking scores. So they use same energy functions, but they have been optimized to different endpoints. For example, this virtual screening score, this has been optimized to largely differentiate the active molecules from the inactive molecules or the decoy ones. So this score is useful and can be considered during the virtual screening experiment. And then we have this rank score. So this is optimized to produce a pose closest to the co-crystallized pose. So if you want to generate a pose that is closest to the co-crystallized ligand pose, in that case you can consider this score. And then we have this delta G score. So when you have a congeneric series, that means when you have ligand with the same binding mode, in that case you can consider this delta G score for differentiating the highly active molecules from the low active molecules. So depending on your experiment, you can consider different scores. So let me hide this original ligand and display only the dock poses. So here in the 3D window, there's a score. What you are seeing here is this rank score. But in Flare, you can also color the ligand atoms based on their contribution to the docking score. So if you go here, you can color by docking score. So this blue means it is contributing really well to the docking, and this red means it is contributing poorly to the docking score. So if you press OK, now you can see the color ligand atoms have been changed. Colors of the ligand atoms have been changed depending on their contribution to the docking score. And these atoms have been colored based on this delta G values. And the more details if you want for the delta G, so you can go to the log window here, and if you double left click, you can find all the details here for the scores. So if you see here, this is our original ligand, and before that, we have activity values for these ligands. So let me add this to the 3D window so I can show this column in the 3D display here. So here we can see the activity for this original ligand is 7, and we have got the low docking score. And this is our modified ligand. So we have got higher docking score, and it is correlating well with this activity. So we have got higher activity for this ligand. So if you see here this indole ring, so this red color means it is contributing poorly to the docking score. So we have got lower score, lower activity. But if we see only these two ligands, for example, So if we see only these two ligands, they are essentially same, only they differ at this position. We have methyl group and we have chloro group here. And according to the color codes, it shows that this chloro group is contributing really well to the docking score. That's why we are getting higher docking score. But the activity for this compound is lower than this compound. And why is it so? So it is difficult to explain sometimes. So for that, we have like additional functionalities in the flare, that is electrostatic complementarity. So I'll explain that. So let me switch on the protein first. And let me change the color of this ligand. Okay. So if you see only this part, we have chloro group here, that means negative electrostatics. And this is surrounded by a couple of carbonyl and serine. So let me change the representation of those residues and label those residues. So if you see here, we have negative electrostatics, which is which is electrostatically clashing with these negative electrostatics of these residues here. So let me add the electropositive and electronegative surface. So if you see here, we have negative electrostatic, which is electrostatically clashing with this negative or the electronegative field here. So you can add electrostatic surface. So here also you can see that we have negative electrostatics and we have negative electrostatics at the protein at this side. You can add electrostatic surface to the protein as well. So now it is adding electrostatic potential surface to the protein. So we'll take, okay. So now it has been added and you can click the plane for better visualization. So let me change into two different grids. So if you see this here, we have negative electrostatics and we have negative electrostatics at the protein at this site as well. So there is some kind of electrostatic clash, and maybe due to this electrostatic clash, this ligand is having lower activity. We can also add electrostatic complementarity surface. So if you add this is much easier to interpret. So now you can see this green color means we have perfect complementarity with the protein electrostatics, and this red means we have some kind of electrostatic clash. So let me add electrostatic complementarity surface for that ligand also, that is more active than this compound. So if you see here, we have chloro group and we have green region here. That means it is the electrostatics of the ligand is complementary to the electrostatics of the protein at this site. So that's why this compound is having higher activity than this one. What you can do is you can also calculate the electrostatic complementarity score. So for that, let me calculate electrostatic complementarity score for the original ligand first. So now we are seeing only the original ligands. So they have been perfectly aligned. So for calculating the score, electrostatic complementarity score, you can go to the ligand menu. You can add the surface, but if you see here, this option is disabled, electrostatic complementarity to the protein. And why is it so? Because you can compute electrostatic complementarity with respect to a protein, and here these ligands have not been associated with any protein. So for example, this is a prepared structure. So we have protein information, but for these ligands, we don't have any protein information. So you can associate these ligands with the protein. So you can right click and set protein. Here you can choose which protein structure you want. So I will use this dry. And after that, you can press OK. Now you can see these ligands have been associated with the protein. And again, if you go to the ligand tab here, now you can see this option has been enabled. And you can also calculate the electrostatic complementarity score now. So if you press on this, it will start calculating the scores. So before explaining those scores, let me calculate electrostatic complementarity score for dock poses also. So again, you can go to the ligand menu here and then electrostatic complementarity. So this will start computing electrostatic complementarity. I'll hide it and I'll firstly explain electrostatic complementarity based on the original ligands. So here, if you see, these three different scores have been added. So this is the electrostatic complementarity score. So this score is the average over the surface of the ligand, and then we have different variants of. So for example, let me show on. So let me switch on ligand. So this EC score is the average over the surface of this ligand, and then we have this variant, these variants of this EC. This is the Pearson correlation coefficient, and then we have Spearman correlation coefficient, and the activity values lies between -1 to +1. -1 means there is perfect clash, and +1 means there is perfect complementarity with respect to the protein. And usually this ECR correlates well with the PIC50 values, but you can check with all those scores which one is working for you. And this Spearman usually correlates well when your protein is having high charge. So for example, if I plot, okay. So if I plot PIC50 values versus EC score for the original ligands which were perfectly aligned, for that you can go to the extension here and you can click on this plot button here. You can select different what you want to plot. So in this case, I want to plot PIC50 value versus EC. So you will get correlation something like this. And if I plot it against ECR, so you can see that we have got better correlation with the ECR. So now if I plot it for the dock poses, again you can go to the extension and then plot. Here again you can select PIC50 value, and then in this case if I select ECR, so we are getting lower correlation as compared to the original ligands. And why is it so? Because let me hide this electrostatic complementarity surface. So why is it so? Because you can see in the dock poses we have some kind of noise. They are not perfectly aligned as the original ligands. So that's why we are getting like slightly lower correlation. So you can either use different docking methods, like more accurate for getting the better alignment. And then in that case, you can have a good correlation with the activity. So this is what I wanted to show you in this demo. So if you have questions, you can ask me.
From participant.
Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, yes.
So, are there any questions? Like, this is what I wanted to cover. Electrostatics can help you. For example, if you see here, we have chloro, so that is electrostatically clashing with these residues. So you can modify it with to make it more complementary to the protein. So in that case, if you change it to the methyl, you will have better complementarity and you can get good activity. Hello, Dr. Somasundaram. Hello.
I have asked any questions.
No questions.
What other options we have in extension?
Sorry, I didn't get you. Sorry. Hello.
Question from Tanmay Varman. What other options we have in extension?
What? Okay. So let me again section. Okay. So in extensions, like we have different functionalities in Flare, but it is not possible due to time constraint to cover all those things in one session. So here, if you want to build part of the missing structure, so you can do that using this build loop read here, and you have different options or the scripts for different other experiments here. You can calculate the RMST between the docked poses and the original ligand. So, and also we have some command line options using this, which I have not covered. Or here, sorry, here, which I have not covered. And also you have functionalities like 3D RISM and FEP calculation, water swap, confirmation, hunt and alignment. So there are many, but I cannot cover all those things. Then you can also do virtual screening. So we have different software for that. You can export your result directly to that tool. So you have different other menus in the GUI, but it will not be possible for me to cover all here in this session.
You can see in the chat box. More questions. Can we add extension from external sources like PyMol?
Yes, yes, it is our software, like as I have explained. This is Python API based, so you can customize, like you can add different script. You can add your own script here. You can write, you can add your own script, so that is not a problem. So you can add different scripts if you want. So if you are interested in our software, if you want to try, like want to give it a try, you can either contact me or our country manager who is with us. So you can contact us on these email IDs. We also have our distributors, Newtel. You can contact them as well.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Anand.
Dr. Anand, I have one question to you. So in general,
Yes.
what is the speed it has suppose millions of the molecules? So in general, you have some the different option fast and so. So what is in general speed?
So for docking, like you are asking for benchmarking for docking, right?
Yeah. If suppose we have suppose PubChem we want to explore. PubChem we know it has got 100 million molecules. So how to handle those, and how much time it will take?
So we have benchmarkings available for different docking methods. So for example, it usually takes like 5 to 10 seconds per core for the quick mode, and for other like for normal mode, it usually takes like 15 to 40 seconds per core. So we have all those what benchmarkings available for the docking. So if you want, I can like share those details with you.
Yeah, I mean, just you can share some numbers, so audience will be happy to know.
Yes, as I have given you ideas, like usually it takes around 5 to 10 seconds per core for quick mode and 15 to 40 seconds per core for the normal mode. And for the more accurate ones, it usually takes 40 to 120 seconds. So it depends on your experiment as well, like the size of the ligand, active site. So this depends on other factors as well, but this is usually what we have, like benchmarking.
Yeah, that we understand. If there are several other factors that can also influence the process.
So I'm not able to hear you clearly. So can you please a little bit loudly? I don't know. There is some problem with audio.
Yeah, I understand what you have said.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. Hello, hello, organizers.
Yeah.
So if we don't have any other questions, so we can close this session. And before
Yeah.
closing, I can, like, as I have shown here, like if you are interested in our software and you want to give it a try, you can contact our country manager, Krish, who is with us, or you can contact me on these email IDs. Hello. Just,
Yeah.
I would like to thank you, all the participants, and I hope it's useful to you.